Lena still remembers that moment. The classroom was quiet. Her heart was loud. The teacher asked a simple question, and Lena raised her hand with confidence. She had studied all night. She knew the grammar. She knew the vocabulary. She was ready. She stood up and spoke clearly. In my opinion, this situation demonstrates a significant improvement in productivity. Every word was correct. Every sentence was perfect. But something felt wrong. The room was silent for a second too long. Then a native speaker answered after her. "Yeah, I think it just got way better, you know. People are working faster now." His words were simple, easy, natural. The class nodded. Some students smiled. Lena slowly sat down. Her grammar was better. Her vocabulary was bigger. But his English sounded alive. Hers sounded like a textbook. Before she spoke, she felt strong. After she spoke, she felt small. She studied for years. He just talked. Later that day, she tried again during group discussion. She carefully built each sentence in her mind before saying it. She avoided mistakes. She avoided contractions. She avoided risk. He spoke without thinking. "I kinda agree. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean?" His sentences were short, relaxed, and smooth. Lena spoke word by word. He spoke in flow. And then it happened. She made a small pause. Just 2 seconds. But in that silence, someone else started speaking. Her voice disappeared. Correct grammar, no connection. Big vocabulary, no rhythm. She walked home with a heavy heart. "Why?" she whispered to herself. "Why do I know so many words, but still don't sound native?" She opened her notebook. Pages full of notes. Advanced words, complex structures, perfect rules. She was doing everything right. So why did it feel so wrong? That night, she replayed the moment again and again in her mind. The difference was not intelligence. It was not effort. She worked hard, very hard. But something was missing. She did not know it yet, but the problem was not grammar. It was not vocabulary. It was something hidden. The next morning, Lena did what she always did when she felt weak. She studied harder. She opened a new grammar book. She searched for advanced vocabulary for fluent English. She wrote down long words like consequently, moreover, and nevertheless. She believed one simple rule: more words mean better English. And she was not alone. All around the world, millions of learners sit at their desks doing the same thing. They memorize long lists. They underline difficult expressions. They try to sound intelligent. They think fluency lives inside big words. But outside the classroom, something very different happens. Two native speakers meet at a coffee shop. "Hey, what's up?" "Not much. I'm kinda tired." "Yeah? Long day?" "Yeah, gonna go home soon?" No complex grammar, no difficult vocabulary, just simple words. But the conversation flows like water. Big vocabulary versus simple natural phrases. Lena knew the word exhausted, but she never said, "I'm kinda tired." She knew intend to, but she never said, "I'm gonna." She learned, "Do you understand?" but not "You know what I mean?" She memorized. They practiced. She studied alone in silence. They spoke naturally without fear. One day, Lena recorded herself speaking. She sounded careful, slow, separate. Every word was clear, but every word stood alone. "I would like to improve my communication skills." Then she listened to a podcast by native speakers. "I'd like to improve my communication skills." The words were connected. Some sounds were soft, some words almost disappeared. It was not about intelligence. It was about rhythm. Native speakers do not speak word by word. They speak in chunks, small groups of words. They connect sounds. Want to becomes wanna. Going to becomes gonna. Did you becomes didja. They use small phrases like, "You know, I mean, right." These words do not carry big meaning, but they carry feeling. They carry flow. Lena suddenly understood something uncomfortable. She had been building a big house of vocabulary, but she forgot to build the door. She knew many words, but she did not know how to move between them naturally. Memorizing versus practicing. Reading versus repeating. Thinking versus flowing. Maybe the problem was not that her English was bad. Maybe the problem was that her method was wrong. This idea was scary. Because if she was learning the wrong way, that meant she needed to change, and change is uncomfortable. But inside that discomfort, there was also hope. If the problem was only grammar, she might need years more study. But if the problem was rhythm and natural phrases, maybe she could train it. Maybe fluency was not about knowing more. Maybe it was about using less, but using it better. She closed her vocabulary notebook slowly. For the first time, she did not ask, "What new word should I learn?" She asked a different question. How do native speakers really speak? So if the problem is not grammar, what is the real secret? That night, Lena did something different. She did not open a grammar book. She opened a video of two friends talking. She did not focus on new words. She focused on how they spoke. And then she heard it. Not the vocabulary, not the grammar, the flow. One friend said, "I want to try that place." Not, "I want to try that place. I want to." The other replied, "Yeah, I'm gonna go tomorrow." Not, "I am going to go tomorrow. I'm gonna." Later, one of them laughed and said, "Did you see that?" Not, "Did you see that? Did ya?" The words were connected, soft, moving together like music. Lena paused the video. She repeated slowly, "Wanna, gonna, didja." It felt strange at first, almost wrong. Her textbooks never wrote those words. Teachers corrected students who said them, but native speakers use them every day. She kept listening. "I mean, it's kind of funny, you know." "You know?" "I guess. Kind of." These small phrases were everywhere. They did not change the meaning very much, but they changed the feeling. They made the speaker sound relaxed, human, real. Suddenly, Lena understood something powerful. Native speakers do not speak word by word. They speak in chunks. Instead of building sentences like a robot, word, 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 they use small groups. "I wanna go. It's kinda hard. You know what I mean?" Speaking word by word versus speaking in chunks. Thinking too much versus speaking smoothly. Sounding like a textbook versus sounding human. When Lena spoke before, she built each sentence carefully in her mind. She checked grammar. She checked verb tense. She tried to be perfect. That is why she was slow. Native speakers were not checking rules. They were using patterns, ready-made pieces, natural sounds that came from habit, not thinking. Flow was not magic. Flow was training. She realized something that made her heart beat faster. The secret was not difficult grammar. The secret was not a huge vocabulary. The secret was rhythm, connection, and small everyday phrases. And rhythm can be copied. Connection can be practiced. Small phrases can be learned. For the first time, Lena did not feel behind. She felt hopeful. She did not need to become a different person. She just needed to train her mouth and ears. She tried again. "I want to go home." Then she said it faster. "I want to go home." It felt more natural, softer, lighter. Again. "Did you eat? Didja eat?" She smiled. It was like discovering a hidden door in a room she thought she already knew. All these years, she was studying English. But she was not studying how English moves. Now she understood, fluency is not only about what you say, it is about how it flows. And if flow can be trained, then change is possible. But knowing the secret was only the beginning. The next day, Lena decided to try. She was alone in her room. The door was closed. The world was quiet. She looked at her notebook and read, "I am going to study now." Then she tried to say it differently. "I'm gonna study now." She stopped. It sounded strange. Not wrong, but not her. She felt like she was pretending to be someone else. "This is not me," she whispered. For years, she spoke slowly and carefully. That was her safe place. Safe and slow, clear and correct. Now she was trying to connect words, reduce sounds, and speak faster. It felt uncomfortable. Comfort zone versus growth. When she said, "I want to improve," she felt normal. When she said, "I want to improve," she felt silly. She imagined her classmates hearing her practice. She imagined them laughing. Her face became warm. Fear of sounding silly versus courage to improve. That night, she opened a video again. She listened to one short sentence. "It's kinda hard, you know." She pressed pause. She repeated softly, "It's kinda hard, you know." Again, a little louder. Again. At first, her mouth moved slowly. The sounds did not connect naturally. She sounded like she was acting in a bad movie. She almost gave up. It feels fake, she thought. Maybe I should just speak my way, safe and slow. But then she remembered the classroom, the silence, the feeling of disappearing, natural and confident. Which feeling was worse? A few minutes of embarrassment alone in her room, or years of feeling small in conversations? She took a deep breath. She opened the voice recorder on her phone. Her hands were shaking a little. She recorded herself. I'm gonna try again. It's kinda difficult, you know. She listened. It was not perfect, but it was better than yesterday. She recorded again. Each time, it felt a little less strange. Growth does not feel comfortable. It feels awkward. It feels awkward. It feels unnatural. It feels like wearing new shoes that are too tight. But new shoes become comfortable if you keep walking. Lena practiced at night when no one could hear her. She repeated short phrases. She copied rhythm, not just words. Sometimes she laughed at herself. Sometimes she felt tired. But deep inside, she knew something important. Discomfort means change. If it feels strange, it means you are leaving your old self behind. And she was ready to leave the old, silent version of herself. Then one small habit changed everything. Lena understood the secret. She knew about flow. She knew about chunks. But knowing was not enough. She needed a plan, so she created a small challenge for herself. Not 1 year, not 6 months, just 24 days. She called it the Day 24 Challenge. The rules were simple. Every day she would listen to 5 minutes of real native conversation. Not a grammar lesson, not slow English for learners, real people speaking naturally. Then she would repeat what they said, out loud, not in her head. This is called shadowing. Shadowing means you listen and speak at the same time, or right after. You copy the sound, the rhythm, the speed. You do not only copy the words. You copy the music of the sentence. If the speaker says, I'm gonna head out, you do not say, I am going to head out. You copy exactly, I'm gonna head out. Copy the sound. Copy the feeling. For years, Lena was a passive learner. She watched videos. She listened to podcasts. She understood most of it. She felt proud when she understood. But understanding is not speaking. Passive listening versus active speaking. Watching videos versus copying sounds. Knowing versus doing. Now, every evening, she put on her headphones and chose a short clip. Just 5 minutes. That was all. She listened once. Then she listened again and repeated each sentence. At first, she could not keep up. The speakers were too fast, the words were too connected. But she did not stop the video every second. She tried to move with it. Even if she missed a word, she continued. Flow is not perfect. Flow is movement. She also wrote down small phrases she heard often. Kinda, sort of, you know, I guess. Right? She practiced them alone. I'm kinda tired. I guess it's okay. It's sort of difficult, you know. She did not study difficult words during these 24 days. No long vocabulary lists, no heavy grammar exercises, just 5 minutes of listening, 5 minutes of shadowing, 5 minutes of copying rhythm. That was all. Some days felt boring, some days felt useless. After the first week, she still sounded almost the same. But something small was happening inside her brain. Her ears were learning new patterns. Her mouth was learning new movements. Her fear was becoming smaller. She was not trying to be perfect. She was trying to be consistent. Big effort once a month versus small effort every day. She chose small effort every day. On day 10, she noticed she could say wanna and gonna without thinking. On day 15, she stopped translating every sentence in her head. On day 20, she started enjoying the practice. It was not magic. It was repetition. It was not talent. It was training, and slowly, very slowly, her English began to move. At first, nothing changed, but after some days, it happened on a normal day. No big test, no important presentation, just a simple conversation after class. Lena was standing with 2 classmates. One of them asked, "Hey, why didn't you come to the study group yesterday?" Before, Lena would pause. She would build the sentence carefully in her head. She would check the grammar. She would speak slowly, but this time, something different happened. She answered without thinking. I was kinda tired, you know, so I just stayed home. The words came out smoothly. Soft. Connected. Kinda. You know? Just. She did not plan it. She did not prepare it. It just flowed. For 1 second, her heart beat fast. She waited. Before, people often said, "Sorry?" Before, people often said, "Sorry." Before, they looked confused. Before, she repeated her sentence again and again. But this time, her classmate nodded. "Oh yeah, I get it. I was exhausted too." The conversation continued. No strange look. No silence. No embarrassment. Just normal. Before, fear. After, relaxed smile. Lena felt something new inside her chest. It was small, but powerful. Belonging. She was not outside the conversation anymore. She was inside it. They kept talking. "Are you going to join us tomorrow?" one of them asked. She answered naturally, "Yeah, I think so. I just gotta finish one thing first." Gotta. Again, no one reacted. No one corrected her. No one looked surprised, because it sounded normal. For years, she believed fluency meant speaking perfectly. Big words, perfect grammar, no mistakes. But now, she understood something deeper. Fluency is comfort. Fluency is connection. Fluency is speaking without fear. It was not a big speech that changed her. It was one small sentence. "I was kinda tired, you know." On her way home, she replayed the moment in her mind. But this time, she was smiling. The difference between her old self and her new self was not huge vocabulary. It was flow. Before, she forced every word. Now, words move naturally. Before, she tried to impress. Now, she tried to connect. That small moment changed how she saw herself. After that day, something quiet but powerful changed inside Lena. Before, when someone asked about her English, she would smile shyly and say, "My English is bad." She said it so many times that she believed it. But now, when she thought about her English, a different sentence appeared in her mind. "My English is growing." It was a small change in words, but it was a big change in identity. Before, she saw herself as only a student, a learner, someone who was always behind. Now, she began to see herself as a speaker, from student to speaker, from memorizer to communicator, from outsider to participant. She was not waiting to become perfect anymore. She was already speaking. In the past, she had a fixed mindset. She believed some people were good at English, and she was not one of them. She thought fluency was talent. If she made a mistake, she felt embarrassed. If she forgot a word, she felt stupid. Perfection was the goal, and perfection was heavy. Now, she understood something different. Progress is lighter than perfection. A growth mindset says, "I am not perfect yet, but I am improving." She still made mistakes. Sometimes she used the wrong tense. Sometimes she searched for a word. But she did not freeze anymore. She kept speaking. Confidence did not come from perfect grammar. It came from real communication. It came from moments when people understood her. It came from small conversations that flowed naturally. She stopped comparing herself to native speakers. Instead, she compared herself to the Lena from 1 month ago. 1 month ago, she was afraid to use gonna. Now, she used it without thinking. 1 month ago, she avoided speaking in groups. Now, she joined discussions. The biggest change was not in her pronunciation. It was in her belief. When you say, "My English is bad," your brain closes. When you say, "My English is growing," your brain opens. Lena started to introduce herself differently in her own mind. Not, "I am bad at English," but "I am becoming fluent." And when you change how you see yourself, you change how you act. She spoke more. She practiced more. She worried less. Her identity shifted from someone who studies English to someone who uses English, and that shift was more powerful than any grammar rule. But this lesson is bigger than English. After some weeks, Lena realized something surprising. This journey was not really about sounding native. Yes, she wanted better pronunciation. Yes, she wanted natural flow. But the real change was deeper. The hidden skill was not only rhythm, it was courage. Courage to imitate. At first, she felt shy copying native speakers. She thought, "What if I sound stupid?" But she learned that imitation is not weakness. It is how children learn. It is how musicians learn. It is how athletes learn. You copy, you repeat, you grow. The hidden skill was also discipline. 5 minutes a day sounds small, almost too small. But small daily action is stronger than big action once a month. Talent versus consistency. Many people say, she is talented. But they do not see the quiet practice at night. They do not see the repetition. They do not see the effort. Lena stopped waiting to feel motivated. Before, she told herself, I will practice when I feel ready. But motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel strong, some days you feel tired. Waiting for motivation versus building habits. Habits win. Even on days when she felt lazy, she still did her 5 minutes. Not perfect, not powerful, just consistent. And there was one more lesson. Humility. To improve, she had to accept sounding bad first. Her first recordings were not smooth. Her rhythm was strange. Her voice felt uncomfortable. Fear of mistakes versus action, despite fear. If she waited to sound good before speaking, she would never speak. So she chose action. She chose to be a beginner again. And this lesson is not only for English, it is for everything. If you want to play guitar, your fingers will hurt at first. If you want to go to the gym, your body will feel weak at first. If you want to start a business, you will feel lost at first. Growth always feels uncomfortable in the beginning. People who look confident today were once awkward beginners. People who sound fluent today once spoke slowly and made many mistakes. The difference is not talent. The difference is that they did not stop. Lena understood that sounding native was not the final goal. The real goal was becoming braver, becoming consistent, becoming someone who does not run away from discomfort. English was just the training ground. Through English, she trained her discipline. Through English, she trained her courage. Through English, she trained her identity. And if she could change her voice, maybe she could change other parts of her life too. That idea made her smile. Because now, the challenge was not scary. It was exciting. So what can you do today? Now it is your turn, not tomorrow, not next month. Today, you do not need a complicated study plan. You do not need a complicated study plan. You do not need 10 books. You do not need 3 hours every day. Complicated plans often fail. Simple habits win. Here is your day 24 challenge. Step 1. Choose one short video every day. Just 5 minutes. A real conversation, a vlog, a podcast clip, something natural. Do not choose something too difficult. Do not choose something too easy. Choose something real. Step 2. Copy 10 sentences. Only 10. Listen to one sentence. Pause. Repeat it out loud. Try to copy the sound exactly. If they say, I'm gonna grab some coffee, you say, I'm gonna grab some coffee. Not, I am going to take coffee. Copy the rhythm. Copy the music. Step 3. Focus on rhythm, not just words. Notice how words connect. Wanna, gonna, gotta, kinda, sort of, you know, I mean. Right? These small phrases are powerful. Practice them in your own sentences. I'm kinda tired. I gotta go now. It's sort of difficult, you know. I mean, it's not that bad. Step 4. Record yourself. Yes, it may feel uncomfortable, but recording helps you hear the difference between your old voice and your new voice. Listen without judging. You are not trying to be perfect, you are training. Step 5. Repeat this for 24 days, not 24 hours. 24 days, long study hours versus smart 15 minutes. You do not need to study 3 hours and feel tired. 15 focused minutes every day is stronger than one long session once a week. Dreaming versus stewing. Many people say, one day I will speak fluently. But fluency is built today, one sentence at a time, one small habit at a time. If you miss one day, do not quit. Continue the next day. Progress is not about being perfect, it is about continuing. Imagine yourself speaking more naturally. Imagine answering questions without freezing. Imagine smiling during conversations instead of worrying. This is not impossible, it is practice. You already know enough English to start. You do not need to wait until you feel confident. Confidence comes after action, so keep it simple. 1 video, 10 sentences. Focus on rhythm. Record yourself. Repeat for 24 days. That is all. You can do this. And imagine yourself 24 days from now. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine it is 24 days later. You are standing in class. Or maybe at work. Or maybe in a small cafe in another country. Someone asks you a question in English, and this time you do not panic. You do not translate in your head. You do not search for perfect grammar. You just answer. Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'm gonna finish it later. I mean, it's not that hard, you know? The words move naturally, soft, connected, alive. You are not speaking fast because you are nervous. You are speaking smoothly because you are relaxed. Old you versus new you. Old you waited before every sentence. New you trusts your flow. Old you focused on not making mistakes. New you focuses on connection. Silent versus expressive. Afraid versus confident. People look at you and nod. They understand you easily. They respond naturally. The conversation continues without stopping. And the most important thing, you are smiling, not because your English is perfect, but because it feels free. Fluency does not mean you never make mistakes. You still might. Sometimes you forget a word. Sometimes you choose the wrong tense. But you do not freeze. You continue. You adjust. You communicate. That is power. Think about the journey. At the beginning, you felt embarrassed. You believed you were not good enough. You thought you needed bigger words and harder grammar. But now you understand something different. You don't need perfect English. You need natural flow. And natural flow comes from daily courage. Courage to imitate. Courage to sound strange at first. Courage to practice when no one is watching. Courage to speak even when your voice shakes. 24 days is not magic. But 24 days of small action can change how you see yourself. It can change how you speak. It can change how you live, because when you learn to speak without fear, you also learn to live without fear. This challenge is not only about English, it is about becoming braver than yesterday. It is about choosing growth instead of comfort. It is about action instead of excuses. So here is your final question. Who do you want to be 24 days from now? The same person, still waiting? Or the new you, speaking with flow and confidence? The choice is simple. 1 video, 10 sentences, 15 minutes. Every day. This is day 24. Start today.